What's up, guys? Today we're unboxing the real deal kit because it's the most awesome kit that we can possibly make. Hold on, there's even more. We got another box coming. Box 2. So, in this box we have our soaps. In this box we have our hardware. Let's pop this thing open and see what you get. So this kit is what we designed for our wash bay installations. So when a customer calls us up and says, hey, we want you to outfit our wash bay and give us something that's great, and we want it to be automatic, we don't want to think about how we're cutting our soaps, we don't have to turn it on and off too much, or, you know, all that, then that's what this is. It's a streamlined way to make everything automatic. So as we open up the box, we've got a nice brochure, a little coupon thing, just a couple little nice things to familiarize you with what we have to offer. As we get into the box, first thing we'll see when we get in here is our own Lance design. This is built with all German stainless steel Suttner components. Beautiful layout. A couple other manufacturers mixed in here, but mostly Suttner. And this is a fast way to turn on and off your rinse when you're power washing. So you can switch to rinse, you can switch to foam. Don't even have to go back or do anything at the power washer. So that's pretty cool. That's in there. And along with that, we have this. This is the Suttner ST2715. This is the nicest gun that we stock. It's a fully stainless steel gun, and it has the DGV Mosmatic swivel on there, which is super nice for resisting the tension on the hose. So that hooks up right to this, just like so. And then that thing will just quick couple right onto the power washer hose that you have. So we'll set that aside here. After that, we see the ST164 from Suttner. This is the nicest injector I've ever worked with. Cuts the soap dead nuts for you, fully stainless steel as well. And it's got the ability to pull 2 soaps. That's why the 2 hoses. And this is the lever that switches between your 2 soaps. As you know, in the touchless wash system, you have 2 soaps, a pre-soak and a neutralizer. So this is the best way to work with those. Other than that, we've got some ratio tips here. So these are for adjusting the strength that comes out of the injector. These mount right inside the pickup tubes here. So the strength that it draws the soap at and the speed that it draws the soap at is hard set. It's not going to be easily adjusted, and that's kind of a good thing when there's a lot of users in the wash bay. So that's what these are for. And then lastly, we've got our jumper hose. What this thing does is it connects your power washer to this injector valve. So that's a pretty quick plug and play, no tools kind of thing. You would unplug the power washer hose that you have off the outlet of the power washer and then plug this one in. And then the other side of it is going to plug on right here on the real deal valve, just like so. So anyways, kind of a neat little way to make everything hook up real quick. And then you would mount this valve on the wall somewhere. On to box 2. In this box, we've got our soaps. You might already be familiar with the M-Shine and Redline soaps from the touchless foam cannon kit, the little guy. Same soaps. This is just a nicer way to apply them. So we've got our Redline soap. We've got our M-Shine pre-soak, step 1, step 2, and then another set of each. And so what this valve is going to do, this valve is going to cut these soaps so efficiently that each one of these pails lasts the same amount of time as a 5-gallon pail would on a normal downstream injector. So hugely efficient, way better for shipping stuff around the country. It just takes all of the efficiency and drives it right up to the max. So let's open this stuff up. I want to show you guys the inside of the gun, the inside of this valve, show you how nice they're made, and then we'll get into a little soap usage comparison. Let's go. So let's open up this ST2715, see what's so special about this and what makes it so durable. If we flip this thing over, got the screws on the back here. So these are the most durable gun I've ever used. Very, very, very long lifespan on a trigger like this one. And that's due to the stainless steel construction. It is 110% stainless steel. So if we lift off this piece, you can see on the inside, the entire housing, you know, all the parts and pieces, this connecting pipe here, the inlet, everything is 100% stainless steel on this. So it's a very, very nice design, and even all the way down to the screws that they use. They're not skimping at any point on this thing, and that's why we call this kit the real deal. That's kind of our theme when we were designing it. This gun is rated for 300-degree water, super durable. And down the road, if you had any issues where it was letting some water past the valve here, this is the port that you would open up to get into the valves and the seals inside of this thing, just to seal it back up and get it working like brand new again. This is the internals of this valve, just so we can get an idea of what this is on the inside. So in here you have your sort of a piston that presses back when you squeeze the trigger, and then that in turn moves a check valve ball basically from its sealed position backward to where these openings are. And then we have these O-rings and spacers that kind of set it all in place and keep it from leaking. So if you were to get a repair kit for that, you would get all of those little O-rings and moving parts in there. Every now and then you can expect to maybe need to replace those O-rings and whatnot, but those are kits that we have available. So let's put this thing back together, and then we'll get onto the foam lance here next. All right, so moving on to the foam lance. One feature of this kit that's kind of nice, we use these 22mm screw coupling disconnects, and these are nicer than the conventional quick disconnect like this style. Normally this is what you would see on the outlet of a trigger gun, and the design and the nature of these, the plug tends to grind against the O-ring here, which is just leads to a very short seal life on these. So we like to use these instead, because on this style, this is the only non-stainless thing in this whole piece. But inside this coupling here, there's an O-ring that is seated inside a sort of a sleeve on the other side of the plug, so it receives into that. So when this turns, it does not grind on the O-ring. That's the main thing that I like about these. And the way that they secure on is just a little better. Another cool feature of these is that even under pressure, they always spin freely. This is also a live swivel, so it allows you to kind of twist the gun to get around into the wheel wells and, you know, underneath things and undercarriages and whatnot. It just makes it all very fluid and nice to use. All right, so now on to the foam lance. So this is our own design, something I'm really proud of, because I think this thing is an awesome tool for power washing. You have your 22mm screw coupler inlet, nice grip here with a side grip. This side grip does not do anything other than just give you a place to hold on. If you loosen it, you'll just be able to move and slide around the grip on the pipe if you wanted to adjust where it's sitting. But that's not how you operate the soap on and off. How you do that is through this valve right here. And how this thing works is a ball bearing inside of this piece. Whatever side of the lance you want to turn on, whether it be your rinse side or your foaming nozzle side, you just hold that side higher. So if you have your rinse here in the upright position, you would now squeeze the trigger. The flowing water would lock in the ball bearing in the blocked position on the bottom, and then it would have rinse. And then if you want foam, you switch it over while it's not spraying, then squeeze the trigger, and then this pipe will engage. So that's a nice way to turn on and off your soap, because normally you would have to go back to a power washer to turn on or off the soap. On hot water machines, you might even have to wait a couple of minutes for the soap to come out or to stop coming out. So in this system, if you have a 50-foot hose, you would see about a 5-second delay from rinse to foam and vice versa. If you have a 100-foot hose, it's roughly 10 seconds. So it's very fast and efficient. You're not spraying soap when you don't want to be, and you're not waiting for soap to come out when you need it. It just streamlines the whole process. The foam nozzle here is the ST75. This is a super nice foaming nozzle, and it's easily cleaned because every now and then that will be a thing you'll want to do, especially if you have any contaminants in your water. But when you take this out, you're going to see this little nozzle fall out. That's seated here against this O-ring. Make sure you don't lose that. But that goes in there like this. And then the foam nozzle has its foam agitator on the inside of here, which is pretty hard to see on the camera, but it's basically a spot where all the water flows through. So if you have any junk in the water, like it could be maybe grit from maybe using well water, it could be coil scale from a hot water machine, that's the place where that's going to catch. So if you have any issues, you pop these pins out, lift that out, clean out that foam screen, and then put it back together and you should be good. If that is a common issue, we do have the conventional ST75. They call this the clog-free one. That's because this has a nylon mesh inside of here that is like a little piece of fabric, and it's easily rinsed out and put back together, and it's also less likely to clog. So if you have a hot water power washer, or if you're using well water, this would be the better nozzle to work with. So there's another option as well, an even more upgraded lance if needed. I'll show you what that looks like. So in the event that the ball bearing concept is confusing or more of a hassle as far as durability is concerned, then we make this one. The difference here is that we have the ST58 from Suttner, and that is a huge upgrade. It does add a little bit of expense, but it's so much simpler for the end users to understand, especially if it's in a very highly used wash bay by a bunch of different end users. So this is going to turn like this if you want rinse. It's going to turn like this if you want foam. And so this streamlines everything, and it's extremely durable. So another fully stainless steel German-made Suttner component. So this will be an option soon on our website, and we'll be able to have just a little box. If you want that option, just click it and you'll be able to add that right into our design here. So now on to the injector. This is the Suttner ST164, and what makes this injector so nice is its use of ratio tips and also its ability to switch between two chemicals, which allows for our touchless system to be easily applied. What this means here with these restriction butylls, these mount inside the barbs here, and these are the strength of the soap that's going to come out, and it allows you to cut all the way to 200 to 1 super accurately without anyone measuring anything. And it's my experience that in a highly used wash bay with people who aren't necessarily paying for the soap themselves, they just tend to just use a ton of it and way more than is needed. So what's nice about this system is with these, it's just hard set. It's just going to work. We ship them out at 1% injection or 100 to 1 with water. So it makes our 1 gallon jugs last the same amount of time that a 5 gallon pail would last on a downstream injector. And so that's a really big deal. It streamlines everything. It lowers costs for the company who's buying all this equipment. And it's just a huge, huge savings over time. So to select your pre-soak with this one, you would just slam the handle to the left. If you want to switch to your second step, your red line, after you've applied the first step, then you switch it over to the right. And then from that point, you would just switch back to rinse at the gun. If you want, this does also have a full port bypass in the middle position here, and what that does is it removes both of the Venturi nozzles from the line and allows for about 10% more pressure to come out of the gun than when it is in these positions when the soap would be able to engage. We should probably pop this thing open and take a peek inside too. I'm just really impressed with how these valves are made and how much engineering goes into these. Let's pop this thing open and take a peek. There we go. We got it. All right, so this is just a really diesel, super awesome handle. We got 2 screws in here. This is a totally stainless steel assembly, even down to the screws that they use to attach everything. So the attention that these guys have put into this design is just awesome. A couple of mods that we make to these valves when we bring them in is we open them up, we double check them, make sure they're working properly, and we change the colors around on them so that they match our system. I just like for everything to be color coded so that it's easier for people to grasp the concepts and whatnot. There we go. So you have a couple of different O-rings and backing plates and just basically seating that keeps this thing all sealed up even while you move the lever around to select your soaps. From this point, you get at the rest of the valve from underneath here. And then these also have this really nice mounting block that basically slides right off like this. So you would mount this on the wall first and then sort of hook this valve straight into this sort of eye hook design here. And crack this thing open just that much further. Oh, my screws. And so as you look on the inside of this thing, it is just solid stainless steel through and through. Not a single component in this thing is not stainless. These are your diffuser nozzles right after your insert nozzles up above this stage of the valve. And then in here we have a good view of what it looks like where the water channels go through. When you're pumping through your soap, when you have your soap lever on, all the water from your power washer is going to flow through either this side for your pre-soak or this side for your neutralizer. And so when you put the handle in the middle position, you get this port, and you can see how much larger that is. I think it makes about probably somewhere between 7.5% to 10% difference in PSI when you put it into full port bypass. It just allows the power washer to breathe a little bit more. So let's put this thing back together again, and then we'll start playing with how it does its soap consumption thing and how much this will save you on soap. We'll do some looking at that. Okay, so we've set up our power washer here to test this thing out and show you guys how it works, and we're going to do a side-by-side where we run this thing and pull right from the jug of Redline, and then we're going to do a normal injector and do a little side-by-side so you can see the difference in usage. So this represents any power washer you're out there. This will run on pretty much any spec. So you take your jumper hose to hook it up, and you put it on the outlet of your power washer. And then you connect that same hose to the inlet of this soap injector. And then you're going to take your power washer hose you already have, the one that you unplugged from your outlet here, and plug it into this. This is now your outlet. This would of course be mounted to a wall, so it would be nice and clean. It would be mounted, you know, vertically like this most likely. But now all we have to do is hook up our soaps. So we'll just put the red tube right in here, just like that. And then we're gonna fire this thing up and see how it works. The only other thing we gotta do is hook up our gun. Pretty standard connection here as well. So pretty much every power washer hose has this style coupling. We do have other styles if you need. So let's fire this thing up and see how it works. right, so there it is, the Real Deal kit. It's been a great solution for a ton of our customers now. It cuts down on soap usage while also chopping time down on the washing process. A situation like this where you have your two-step soaps can help get all the salt residues off in the wintertime. It can help keep your mirror polished aluminum on point all winter long and throughout the summer. It's just a great way to streamline the whole washing process. So give it a shot, check it out. It's available on Chem-X.com right now, and I'm sure that you'll be very happy with its performance.